to season 3, episode 3. The real episode 3. And we have Frank behind the camera. So hopefully everything's cool, guys. If you could please confirm that, would be great, because just a quick story. Frank was filming when Enrique, Juan, Frankie, and Mike got their black belts from me a few years back, and we basically got 0 footage. So I hope this time it works a little bit better. So if we don't hear confirmation, guys, we assume we're not on. We're just doing this for the hell of it. So let's get started, guys. As you know, the questions that are asked live get preference. So we're going to start with one question. Guys, this is actually a very good question, and a lot of people suffer from that. Is sometimes you have a guy that's athletic, possibly wrestled, and they're in your guard and kind of driving heavy forward, all right? Now, if Enrique opens his legs, I can still move my own. So a lot of times what they'll do is they kind of close it so your hip mobility is impacted. Usually in the cases like this, I'm looking for the head and arm, or UDE GATAME grip, all right? So I'm looking for either head and arm, or just UDE GATAME grip to start opening things up. The problem is that it's very easy for them to take it away because I can't control them moving forward. So when I get that grip, if I can get a decent grip, what I'll do now as they drive forward heavy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my legs, but as I'm opening my legs, I'm kind of bouncing my hamstring off them. So now I have a good bite, but as you guys know, Enrique is really good thwarting me. Or is he? So guys, let's look at this scenario again. This is a very common scenario. You have a guy in your guard that's driving heavy. So he's trying to get you to open, but open in a bad way for you, for the guy on the bottom. So once that happens, they start passing guard. As soon as your legs open, one knee comes through. He already is pressuring heavy on your shoulders, so you kind of pin, so your mobility is impacted. So I want to attack, but I also want to attack on decent terms for you. So there's a couple of things I need to do. First, I got to get a decent grip on his upper body, and that's usually either UDE GATAME, upside down arm lock, or head and arm. All right, that's first. When I open, I need to kind of bounce, and the reason I need to bounce is because if his legs are kind of controlling my own hips, you don't have a lot of mobility, so that bounce kind of gives you a little bit of ability to post your feet on his hips. Then the third thing is, then I start to immediately attack with UDE GATAME. If you didn't bounce enough and you didn't get that perpendicular angle, which you should know by now that there's plenty of UDE GATAME, bolt cutter grip to upside down arm lock videos, that you need to get somewhat perpendicular position. If you don't get it, all right, it's not going to be the greatest bite. So they're going to be able to withdraw. But look, as they're doing this, they're breaking their posture. So all you need to do is clamp down on their wrist briefly and switch into a triangle. So let's look at it again. So Enrique's driving. So I'm looking for head and arm, and then I'm looking to bounce. As soon as I bounce, I'm attacking already. But as he's swimming forward, I clamp down on his wrist, and as you guys know, now I don't care about that arm. I gotta connect to my shin, and this is done. So let's look at it from a different angle. So I'm usually swimming until I can get something. Now, again, don't just kind of open the legs, because if I do, he's controlling my hips, so you don't have good mobility. So this might happen. So not to allow this to happen. So as I have this, I'm going to open and I bounce to be able to put at least one of my feet on the hips. This is done. Enrique just tapped. You guys couldn't see it. If he's driving forward, I'm switching to a triangle. Again, I'm switching to my shin from that hand. I no longer need that hand. And now I just cut. the proper angle, and that's done. So this is one of the ways to kind of attack from a position where, even though he's in your closed guard, it appears that your own guard is somewhat compromised, and you can't do a whole lot. The biggest takeaway from this is that bounce, guys. You have to create enough space to be able to put at least 1 foot on your hips. Hopefully that everybody understands that. And Frank, do we have any questions? Are we live?
We are live, believe it or not. And the guys from Perth, Australia said this is the best BJJ content on YouTube, period.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have any questions, technical questions?
No technical questions
yet.
yet.
We're going to move right along. Guys, this is a very important concept, all right? Let's talk about it from the bottom side control. So, if Enrique is sitting out, right, or on me, all right? So, most people, I'm not a fan of sitting out. The only time I will sit out is to isolate this arm, and then I square back up. That said, you're gonna have the person on top sitting out, okay? So it could be just briefly as he's cutting through your guard. So a lot of times off the knee cut pass, he just sat out. He may not stay there for a long time. He may just stay there briefly. So whenever I feel somebody sitting out, usually what I've tried to do is I either want them on my shoulders high up, in which case I can just move my hips, or if they're on my hips, I just bring in the inside shin. Can you guys see it? I know there's a lot of black. We don't have a lot of white rash guards and spats. We may have to do something about that.
For sure.
You're wearing white spats. Or white shorts.
Flower spats.
So, when you have somebody sitting out on you guys, you have to learn to kind of shrimp almost without touching the ground, because if I touch the ground and try to shrimp out, Enrique is just going to stay with me forever. So when I feel somebody sitting out, what I'll do is I'll bring my feet and legs close to him, and then as I swing him out, I kind of effectively shrimp out without touching the ground. This is a very important concept, because that split second of me placing, he knows that he feels as soon as my whole body positioning changes, as I place, yeah, he makes the adjustment and shuts down my shrimp. All right? So again, I'm trying to get my feet, and then I just bring my leg over. But what happened is, what made it possible is, so I can't bring my leg over his head. If I turn my body just a little bit, I can. I would not do it with the help of my hand. My hand would be kind of framing, but I need to do it just with the shrimp. Yeah, shrimp. There's a whole episode on that. Tap. Okay. So again, guys, this is a very, very important concept where sometimes you literally have microseconds to make something happen. There's an opportunity, but depending on how you're setting up your counter to him or your attack to him, those microseconds count. If you're slightly late, that takes that away. Do we have any other questions, Frank?
We do. We had a couple questions pertaining to butterfly guard passing from 3 different people, specifically a couple different variations from standing to
Okay,
not.
butterfly guard pass. Yeah, that's a good one. There's a couple different things you can do. One is if the guy's feet are on the ground, I can place him on his back, and then you can kind of start to control his legs. If he just go in your back for a second. So if Enrique is on his back, usually what I prefer for butterfly guard passing from here. All right. Come
A little closer. Yeah, sorry.
Come closer.
There you go.
Yeah, don't worry, guys. Mike can move the camera. we'd rather that Frank did not touch the camera. So, I will do one of two things. If his back is on the ground, I will either leg pummel. Sometimes I may have to move his legs to the side and kind of crush his hips. All right? Or a kneecap pass. All right? So if his back is on the ground, I'm going to do one of the fairly quick passes. So usually I prefer 3 of them. So if his legs are fairly straight up, if he has this leg high, I will kick. Okay? So if the inside leg is high, I will kick. If it's lower, if it's closer to my knee, I will leg pummel. And then just turn his hips away and I have the pass. That's number 1. Number 2 is, another favorite of mine, is a knee cut pass. Okay? I believe we worked on that in one of the episodes, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. The other possibility is you can kind of move his hips towards the opposite side. And now I will try to go wherever the defense is the weakest. If it's weak on my right side, I'll go there. If it's weak on the left side, I'm going to go to the left side. Sometimes if he tries to square up, you have the possibility of going straight into up the middle. So that's sort of my 3 go-to passes when the guy's back is on the ground with butterfly guard. Where it gets a little more interesting is when the guy is sitting up. So usually when he's sitting up, and I would do the same thing if his back is on the ground. I will try to step in to at least get in half guard. Even though it's open, I'm going to step in, okay? Now, depends, again, what happens, but if this arm, his left arm is weak, I'm going to kick out and back step. Okay? So let's look at that again. So again, I would do the same thing if his back is on the ground or be sitting up. I'm going to, rather than be in full guard, I'm going to step in with one leg. If he's sort of, just sit up. As he's sitting up, if this is still loose, I'm going to back step, kick his back. If that's strong though, I'm still going to step over, and now I'm going to see how he reacts. So if he goes back down, if I can, I'm hooked under his leg, which I don't really mind, because he knows that this is a possibility of a triangle. Okay? So a lot of times he just lets me get that leg back, and now I have a strong attack. So let's look at it again. So as he's sitting up to hug your leg, if you can catch it early on, back step and back take. If you miss that, you can still step, and now I just go down. So I grab Enrique's arm. I don't know if you guys can see it. Frank, I'm very concerned when you touching the camera. All right? Usually I will stay hooked under his leg, which I'm okay with. If I get hooked, that's okay. If I stay hooked, I will actually connect my, it doesn't matter if your legs are too short, you can make a diamond. If you can make a triangle, you could actually finish in here. Or switch into a canoe. All right, and I'm going to add one more. So you know this, guys. This is, I'm sure, one of the episodes. Even if you hold on to my leg, that's okay. He's coming into my knee. So now you have 3 variations when his back is on the ground, and 3 variations when he's sitting up. Again, if he just goes butterfly guard, I can always place his back on the ground. So whichever one you prefer. I actually like when he's sitting up. I like it because I think it gives me more options for those attacks. So I'm not afraid to go into a seated guard, seated butterfly guard, because I know if I can accomplish. Can somebody tell me what I'm looking for? Head and arm control. Or at the very least, head control or arm control. It's going to be very difficult for him to attack my legs if I have head and arm control, at least very strong head control or very strong arm control. So Frank, this means 5 minutes left or high five?
High five and 5 minutes left.
Yes. So what else do we got?
We have a couple follow-up questions on that, but more importantly, people want to know if I'll teach a seminar on camera angles next week. No. No. Seriously, though, people are asking what happens with the butterfly guard when they have both legs on the inside and an arm clamp.
What arm clamp is, are you talking about? Yeah, this is somewhat problematic. I don't have the most flexible shoulders. Guys, anytime somebody starts, no, it's okay, don't worry, it's okay. No, I'm sure they can do. So guys, my shoulders are not the most flexible. So anytime I feel the clamp coming on, I'm gonna move forward because to me that's the most sort of immediate danger. So let's look at it in a different direction. So when he does the arm clamp, you can get swept. I'm not worried about being swept as much as I am having my arm extended and being submitted. So if I feel the pressure, which I do, I'm going to make sure that he cannot extend quickly. So I'm going to actually hug his upper back. And now I start to move forward, but I'm looking to move forward to make sure he can't stretch me. As Enrique tries to sweep me to the side, I'm already kind of going there as he's trying to come up. I'm going to either, if I do get swept, I'm trying to make the best of it. Oh, this was quite best.
You can see it in the travel DVDs.
Frank, I see you doing this. Did we lose the picture?
No. Somebody's saying the focus is off, but it's crystal clear in the screen.
Probably they lost their classes.
Okay.
Oh, guys, we have some questions on this. Let me come back to this. I know I'm all over the place. Sometimes people say they don't get notification when we're live. If you don't get the notification we're live, I don't understand technology as well as most people do, especially Mike. We couldn't figure out why, but I think that if you're using the browser, sort of, if you tune into YouTube with the browser, you're not going to get a notification. I think you need to have the app. I think if you have the app, you see more comments, you see more, you probably get notifications if you have the app. And you have to make sure they're enabled. I got the app and I hated it, so I'm back to the browser. So hopefully that fixes it. And so let's look at this again. This is actually a very good one, and it works at the highest level. But as you know, if Enrique's feet are on my hips, yeah. I should have stretched, guys.
Yes, you should.
And you're using the leg I just told you. All right. I just showed Enrique something before class, and he's already trying to use it on me. Usually I have a 1 month do not use against me policy, but anyways, so once he does this, this is really serious for me because now the threat of submission is very real. If I'm in butterfly guard, I first of all, I try to not allow him to sit back quickly. Because if he sits back quickly, he can sweep me. Just sweep me. Yeah, I'm gonna get swept. So what I want to do is actually drive forward and bend my arm. So I hold him back just a little bit. You're not gonna hold him back fully, just enough that when he sits back, I already know I'm getting swept. So I'm gonna try to get my hips as far away from him as possible. If I get him really far away, I can stop him. But even if he comes up, all I need to do is just be able to put at least one of my feet on the hips, and then you know, anybody that's in my guard, I'm attacking immediately. By the way, This is one of the ugly triangles that's covered on the BJJ Fanatics. New video that's coming out soon. Sales pitch over. So it looks like we got about a minute left, guys. Do we have any last minute questions? Or Frank's starting to sweat, manning the camera. So I think we might have to call it a day. Guys, tune in again. Don't forget, we're weekly now. Don't forget to tune in next Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
Guys, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, your training partners.
Oh, and guys, if you have the BJJ Fanatics videos, I appreciate reviews, especially the good ones.
Yes. And if you have questions on the DVDs, you can ask them here.
Yes, guys, this is a very perfect. This is one of the reasons I do this. I want to be troubleshooting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu issues is one of my favorite ways to teach because everybody has issues, and sometimes you can figure them out yourself if you have help. And hopefully, I'm part of that help. It gets your game better faster, and I'm happy to do that. But this is a perfect forum for that. All right, guys. See you next week.